I wanted to tell a story about how I got into the mall shows. Originally, the family I grew up with, one that was supposed to be my oldest sister, uh, told me about going to a psychic in Manville, New Jersey, and that he read palms. Unbeknownst to her, I was already studying all these books. So I went there and I got a reading off him, and he said, "Oh, you're psychic. I can uh, give you lessons." So I figured, well, maybe I can learn something from this guy. When I went to see him, I would be saying, "Well, doesn't this line mean this? Doesn't this line mean that?" And he said, "Look, you have to use your imagination a little bit." And I actually did study the lines. I mean, he was a decent reader, but he wasn't really a line reader the way I became. So later on, well, there was a lady in his waiting room, a heavyset lady, older, and she started going into a trance. Don't forget, these were psychics and whatever. And I spoke to her, and her name was Thelma Van Wert. And later on, uh, months later, there was an advertisement for a palmistry class in Kenilworth High School to be taught, and I joined the class. And after a few classes, she asked if I would teach it, and she became the student because I had been studying the lines and whatever for a long time. So we went to classes. I went to classes there, or taught the classes for like 3 months, and the classes ended. And I remember one time we went to a Dunkin' Donuts on the corner of Kenilworth Boulevard, and we were talking, and a young guy said to me, "Here, look at my hand." And I told him about his life and how it changed and how he went away, and when he came back, it was never the same. And he dropped his coffee on the ground, and well, that's one of the stories. But that was the first time I ever really remember connecting with somebody in that way. Like I said, when you grab somebody's hand, it has a psychotropic effect. You're getting vibes from the hand as well as the lines or anything you're reading. So I wound up then a year or two later, she got in touch with me, Thelma Van Wert, and she started running like a psychic fair at a Holiday Inn or a Ramada Inn, and invited me. She said I was one of her prize students. And then one day there was a psychic fair at a mall in Menlo Park, New Jersey. It was in the 70s. It was like 1978 or the beginning of 79, whatever. I never really kept track of it all. And I went there, and the guy, Vinny, who was running the table, said, you have to speak to Shirley. She'll be here 9 o'clock in the morning. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, I was there. I was actually early, but there were two ladies before me. And one was like tall and thin, and another was heavy set and shorter. And Shirley walked in, who was a blonde, very well dressed and whatever. And the taller lady went to Shirley's table at the command of Vinny, who I later found out was her husband. And she started taking tarot cards out of a tote bag that she had, and and then Shirley was nodding her head in the negative. And it went on and on, and finally this lady walked away cursing at Shirley. Meanwhile, there were two psychics on the side taking bets how long each of us would last. They said she would only last 5 minutes, and then the next lady, a heavyset lady, was to go up there and give Shirley a reading. And the heavyset lady was giving Shirley a reading. They both had like beads around their neck and whatever. They were kind of a little bit garish, both of them. And I noticed at the back of the heavyset lady's blouse, the neck part was getting soaked, and she was sweating profusely from the back of her neck. And I remember that with comedians, it's called flop sweat. They'd be telling a joke in front of a bunch of people and nobody's laughing, and they would all of a sudden sweat at the back of their neck. And next thing I know, she was finished, and I was to go, and I hear the two psychics saying that I would only last 5 minutes with Shirley. Well, I started giving Shirley a reading. I did a combination of palms and using a regular deck of playing cards. And all of a sudden, Vinny was standing over us, and he was saying, "It's been a half hour. What's up? Is there something wrong?" And she said, "No, he's totally accurate, and he doesn't ask any questions." And she said she would have a table ready for me in the morning, and she would have my name on it. I showed up the next morning, and there was a table with my name on it, and that's how I got introduced to public psychic fairs.